Here is a beautifully carved, really well carved, very sophisticated workmanship is involved in the making of this Paleolithic storystone face and mammoth effigy out of beautiful, beautiful rose quartz from South Dakota. And because it is from South Dakota, I believe it is Clovis in origin. I believe it dates between 12 and 14,000 years ago. And I think that the workmanship that is demonstrated on the surfaces and around this piece, I think are indicative of sophisticated Clovis stone workmanship. And we'll get into some of that beautiful workmanship here in just a bit. We're looking at some of it right now. All those lines that you see, horizontal lines, those are all individual grooves, etching grooves into the rose quartz crystal to image the hair on top of the faces and the mammoth hair. Now what we have is, we have a mammoth with the eye right here and the big trunk looking off to the left. That's a very good mammoth image right there. And it was made to stand upright and very well patinated. All that brown that you see here, that is all patina. Now I've washed this with dishwasher soap and water, and that is beautiful brown patina. Gregory Perino, point authenticator, very well respected. I think he was the curator of the Gilchrist Museum in Oklahoma, and probably the one. Well, I think he was the greatest authenticator of arrowheads and spear points that I've ever known in my lifetime. Now he's not with us anymore, but he taught me to wash these to bring out the patina, because the skin oils will obscure the real patina on the surfaces. And you can see in this etching that those are all well patinated surfaces. They're very frosty surfaces from being in the ground for over 12,000 years. You can see all that patina on there. Nothing fresh about that. There's a few little chips and nicks here and there that you can see are more fresh, but all those lines and grooves are very, very cool. Those are all individually done. And when you take a 10-power loop to it, you can see the etching lines. The bigger etching lines are actually 2 or 3 or 4 smaller etching lines that were merged together to make the larger etching lines. But that's all original patina. That's all original paleo patina and workmanship. And that's why I wanted to share this one with you, because of the outstanding workmanship on this particular piece. Many, many rose quartz examples of paleo storystone face and mammoth effigies are found all around the world. Madagascar has produced a vast quantity of paleo storystone face and mammoth effigies. Actually, the Madagascar rose quartz is superior to this rose quartz here. It's a lot more translucent to transparent, and it has just outstanding colors ranging from deep pinks to lavender colors. Although this rose quartz from South Dakota is beautiful rose quartz crystal as well. And then what we have here, the mammoth again with the eye and the trunk over here and the hair tuft above the head. Now the faces, this eye was pecked out of there on purpose, damaged heavily. That was all anciently done right there. There's the eye. And that's the young face looking off to the right with the pointed nose. And then of course his hair is all etched into the stone. Beautiful. You can feel the ridges of the etching. And then the old face, the eye here again, and the big rounded nose and the open mouth down here facing off to the left. Now when you hold it this way, now that's the baby mammoth with its little trunk right there. And I believe that will stand up too yes, there it is right there. That's the baby mammoth now facing off to the right with its little trunk here and massive hair tuft. And then we have an eye, a nose, and a mouth of a face looking up. That's the nose of the face looking up from the back of the mammoth. All done intentionally. And what we're learning to observe, which we haven't really before my discovery, we haven't observed, certainly haven't observed the etching on flake stone at all. When I discovered these Paleo story stone face and mammoth effigies, I discovered this wonderful etching for the first time. It was patterned etching used on all kinds of stones: citrine crystal, citrine quartz, topaz crystal, rose quartz crystal, obsidian, volcanic glass, on and on and on. Lots of stones were etched by our Paleoindian ancestors in the making of these beautiful effigies, these face and mammoth effigies that I discovered originally in the Mojave Desert in October of 2020. They had never been observed before my discovery, nor had this patterned etching been observed on flake stone. But what we're getting to look at now is we're finding out how they ground edges to keep them from being sharp. That's all ancient grinding like you find on a Clovis point base. So we're finding out that they're grinding, they're smoothing, they're grooving, they're etching, they're flaking, and we're finding out how to look at the flaking other than just spear points, knives, and scrapers. So I think when we start looking at this here from now on, geologists hopefully will learn about paleo flaking and what it looks like, and be able to maybe tell better that these stones were worked by our Paleoindian ancestors and are not just common rocks that are quarried out or that are found in as just a rough specimen that had never been worked. Most stones have been worked by our Paleoindian friends. So I know it's kind of hard to fathom that when we find something really nice, like a nice piece of jade or a nice piece of rose quartz, that we think we're the first ones to have handled it. Probably highly unlikely. Our Paleoindian friends they were everywhere, all over the world, and they were making these all the way back to Homo habilis, not etching them back that far, etching them to Homo erectus 500,000 years ago, but Homo habilis used pecking techniques for the hair instead of etching and grooving. Now we have another great mammoth with the eye of the mammoth and the trunk facing off to the right. Wow, what a great, beautiful specimen that is right there. And then when we turn it this way, now we have a beautiful mammoth image here with the trunk off to the left and the massive hair tuft above the head. And look at all that beautiful, beautiful etching and grooving. Very finely done, I might add, by our Paleoindian ancestors. Just tremendous workmanship. That's why I think this is a Clovis Paleo story stone, face and mammoth effigy. Great faces here too, pointed nose over here, bigger rounded nose over to the facing off to the right, with the eye up here. And just great mammoth imagery, great face imagery, but I really wanted to share how well they are able to etch and groove the stone, and those are grooves into that stone. And when you look at them through a loop, 10 power loop, it's just amazing how the workmanship on this, all these fine individual lines making up one big groove. Paleoindian story stone face and mammoth effigy made out of beautiful rose quartz crystal from South Dakota, USA.